Seriously. Son of a bitch.
Son
of a bitch! Where's my whiskey? In support, in love of Dean. Fireball. That's what I need later on tonight. What?
No.
Balls! Did you see Bobby's hat? Jim Beaver. Did you see his hat? It said balls. I want one of those so bad.
Well, I liked it.
You're one of those people. And you also have your phone on in the middle of a broadcast. What is this world coming to? 2020 sucks! So everybody, what did you think about the final finale of Supernatural last night? What'd you think?
Well, I thought it was fantastic.
No, it wasn't. It was awful. It was so awful that I cried on my Dean shirt.
Welcome to Life After Neverland. Coffee with Corinne and Shawn. And we're going to talk about the season finale of Supernatural that aired last night. And I'm going to be honest, like, at the end of it, she was like sitting there throwing pillows at the TV, and I was sitting there all choked up. Did I not cry a little bit?
He actually did get choked up. It was really, really weird. Okay.
I don't get choked up hardly ever. And I had to leave the room because I was like getting emotional. And she was all like, a nail? This is bullshit.
Yeah. Like, I really was in shock. Like, I've gone through every emotion that you could possibly think about, and now I'm just, like, distraught and delusional.
We have very different perceptions on how the show ended last night, and so we thought we'd bring it here to our channel on YouTube, and we're gonna compare and contrast each other's versions. I saw Twitter. I know I'm the minority, but maybe I can sway some people this morning.
No, you might not be the minority. So this is what's really great about our show, is that there are going to be people that agree with Shawn, and there's going to be people that agree with me. You can be like, yes, Corinne, I totally agree with you, or yes, Shawn, I totally agree with you. There's going to be no haters, right?
Theory number one. I think writers of a TV show that becomes a cult classic, insanely popular, there's almost no way they can write a finale that the super fans are going to be happy with. If they would have ended on the episode before the finale, there would have been equal amounts of people who were frustrated because it was such a soft happily ever after, and to me that's not really Supernatural. I like that they took an extra step and tied more loose ends together, which we'll get into as we talk. But I think most TV shows, the finale is not going to make people happy. Exceptions to that would be, I think House. I think House had a phenomenal ending. And I think Breaking Bad had a great ending. But most TV shows, people are not happy with the finale. So I knew the super fans were going to come out, but I don't understand why. I thought Supernatural did a great job wrapping it all up.
It was the worst thing ever. In fact, I'm traumatized by it. I think I'm actually traumatized by it. I have bags underneath my eyes because I was up on Twitter all night.
She couldn't sleep.
Being and moaning about it.
Follow us on Twitter, Life After Neverland.
But I had some great conversations with some people on Twitter last night, and some good laughs too. But I shouldn't be laughing. I shouldn't be laughing at, it's like just exasperation laughs. So anyways, we're going to talk about the show. So, after God was defeated and Jack is now the new God and went to heaven and he's overlooking the earth, everything was basically supposed to go back to normal. And when Sam and Dean drove off into the sunset, I guess for me, I thought that actually, I would have been okay with it. The only thing that would have given me a few twitches is that it might have been a bit predictable. Not as epic as I would have liked. You're right. I do think Sam and Dean, they've been fighting forever, but they do deserve a better ending than this. Like, they have been fighting for 15 years. I have been so dedicated to these two boys. I've been to tons of Supernatural conventions. I've spent tons of money on these men because I love them so much, and I love their connection and I love the whole show. Okay, like, I love it. Like, they call it the Supernatural family because it feels like they're a part of you in some way. And I think that's why people have such strong feelings about it. Sorry if I'm getting on my soapbox, but Dean Winchester, I have loved Dean Winchester since the very first day I met him on season 1, and I've been watching this show literally since it very first started. And Dean Winchester is very special to me, and it pisses me off that you're gonna kill him like that. I just don't like it. It makes me God. He needs to have an epic death.
I think the whole point of everything is that he doesn't need to have an epic death.
Yes,
and that's what I took out of the whole situation. There's a bigger picture I also want to talk about, but I think the super fans are doing exactly what Corinne is doing right now, and they're focusing in on Sam and Dean. And I think you're missing the bigger picture of the story of what the writers are trying to do.
I'm sorry.
Because
I've been devoted 15 years of my life, and you're going to kill my most favorite character. Like, some people love Superman.
But you're missing...
Some people love Spider-Man. I'm sorry, I love Dean Winchester. You cannot kill him by impaling on a nail by accident. Okay, by accident by vamps that he's been fighting and killing his entire life.
But allow me to retort.
Okay.
So the point of this is, any time before now, had that happened, the world would have ended. Like, there was so much pressure for Sam and Dean not to die for the sake of all mankind that they had to survive. And I know they fought Cain. I know that they had the mark of Cain, and he vesseled Michael. And I know you want to hold on, but the point of the finale was, they don't need to do that anymore. Like, Dean can literally die a normal death. And
that was my cat.
Dean can die a normal death because, I mean, seriously, who can fight 5 vampires and not come out unscathed? Like,
Dean Winchester can, bitch.
But when you have the help of angels and God writing, and you have all these, like, magical weapons, and you have witches, and you have the King of Hell, like, Dean and Sam should have died 20 times by now. And there's always some loophole that saves them.
Yeah.
All the loopholes are gone.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to be there anymore. The earth is saved. Jack said before he leaves, I'm hands off. We don't need to be involved in mankind anymore. Like, we're hands off now. And now Dean and Sam go and fight their first batch of vampires, and something human happens to Dean because he can die now, and the world's gonna be okay. Like, that's the whole point. He died a way anyone would die fighting 5 vampires, and he was released. He wanted to die. Like, he was like, Sam, this is cool. No, this is good. You're the man. I love you. This is okay. Let's let this happen. And then he went to heaven, where all of his stress and burdens were gone. The weight was lifted off his shoulders. He's allowed to die, and mankind will be okay.
No, they won't. Do I look okay to you?
You look like Sam.
I literally, like, I'm not kidding. Like, some people might laugh, but, like, this is my, I don't know, Harry Potter. Okay, because I know people get really in love with Harry Potter. This is my Harry Potter, and this isn't what I wanted. Look, I get everything you're saying, because I was thinking about this, you guys. Like, if the storyline of Supernatural evolved after season 5, if it evolved into God is in charge and he's writing Sam and Dean's story and they were never free, then I guess without God being in their life, all this craziness that we did see that a lot of us would get frustrated with, like Sam and Dean died and they come back, Bobby dies, then he comes back, all these characters die, Castiel goes through all this stuff, then he comes back. You know, and it's just like this roller coaster of madness. And then you actually, and this is what was happening to me, because it's just like God. God was toying with me. You know, here's Dean, I'm gonna kill him. Oh, look, he's back again. Here's Dean, I'm gonna kill him. Oh, look, he's back again. Now God's no longer in the picture. Dean dies, and you do know that he can't be saved. So it does make sense. I don't like where the writing went, so this is where we ended up. Because in my eyes, I was willing to accept Dean dying, but I think Dean needs to go out like a hero, saving the world, saving Sam, saving Cass. I would have been okay with that, but not just being impaled on a damn nail. And then that's a suffering death.
He wasn't on a nail. He was on a piece of rebar, which is
even
the same
worse
as being stabbed by a spear. And secondly, as he's on the spear, knowing that he's going to die, what does he say to Sam? Get those 2 kids and get them out of here. Which I'm wondering at the end, now that I just said that out loud, do you think he adopted those kids, or were those his biological kids with his new wife?
I think those were his biological kids with his new wife. And I think that those little boys were parallel to the boys' stories too.
If you look, oh yeah, that's a good point.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, if you look at the characters of Sam and Dean from a writer's perspective, and how they would go out. Dean would go out fighting and saving someone, like a hero's death. Like, Dean got a hero's death, even if you don't think so because it was on a rebar. He was fighting a nest of vampires. They were nasty. They were mean. He fought them. They won. They saved the kids. He got to go out as a warrior, as a hero. He couldn't go get married and have kids and live happily ever after. That's not Dean.
I want Dean to go off and have as many girls as he wants and have as many one-night stands as he freaking wants.
You wanted to be a man whore the rest of his life?
That would make Dean happy, would it not?
No.
Yeah, it would. Dean would find his girl. Who could he go back to? There's plenty of girls he could go back to.
Dean would have fought and fought and fought until the day he died. And so they're showing a warrior's death. Dean went down. Sam always wanted to be normal, have a family. You know, he had a family, he had a kid, he lived a full life. That kid obviously loved his dad. He had a hunter's mark on his arm. He didn't shield his kid from being a hunter. It looks like his kid's going to pick up the reins and be the new hunter. Like, for me, both of their deaths made perfect sense. But the writers even took it a step further and reunited them in heaven. And now they get to be eternally in heaven with all of the people they love. Their mom, their dad, Cass, Bobby. Like, the ending was phenomenal. I don't understand why anyone has a problem with this.
No. Castiel wasn't even in the finale. And that's another thing. They did already bring back characters like John and Mary to the point where I honestly think I would have preferred for them to hold back on bringing Mary and John back and have them come back in the finale somehow and maybe have them in heaven and be with Sam and Dean. His encounter with Bobby was lackluster. Bobby is like his father. And then where the frick was Cass? In heaven. It's annoying. It's annoying. It's annoying.
I will say that having Cass there would have been pretty cool for Cass to like be there. But I also think that they really wanted to hone in on going back to the very beginning, which was Bobby. Like Bobby is Dean's second father, and he was the first one there waiting for Dean when he crossed over into heaven. Like, I think there's something, to be said about that. That's pretty cool. Like, Cass came later, and they made mention, so Cass, he's doing work. They're rebuilding heaven. They're making things right. And, like, the way they showed heaven earlier in the episode, you're like, wow, heaven kind of seems like hell. Like, you're locked in a room for eternity. They're showing that Cass and Jack are recreating everything the way it's supposed to be. Like, the way that we read it in Scripture. So if you look at the big picture, forget Sam and Dean, look at the big picture. The story of Supernatural followed what the Bible says is going to happen. So there's going to be a rapture. The rapture happened. All these seals and deaths and horsemen and plagues and all this stuff is going to hit the earth. That all happened during the apocalypse. And then basically, through Sam and Dean's actions, they stopped the apocalypse from destroying everything. And then we had a new heaven and a new earth, which is what says in the Bible is going to happen after the apocalypse, after the rapture, after everything happens. Literally, the entire series followed Scripture.
I agree. Because I can see where you're going with this, but of all the years that I've watched Dean Winchester, he literally went to hell. He had hellhounds rip him to shreds. He was literally in hell and came back out again. He had the mark of Cain. He had Michael in his body. He was a vessel for Michael. Let me think of all the other crazy things Dean Winchester has literally been through. And then this is how he dies. I just think that the character of Dean should not die in such an unepic way.
No.
It's hard for me to swallow this, okay? No matter how many ways you slice that.
No, but this is so poetic because he couldn't die before because they
I guess it's tragic.
Well, no, it's not tragic. They needed him. Basically, Lucifer and all of the demons, they were trying to kill Sam and Dean because they knew Sam and Dean were the only people who can stop the apocalypse. The angels were trying to save Sam and Dean because they knew they didn't have the whole story, but they knew they needed Sam and Dean to stop the apocalypse. So if Castiel had not ripped Dean out of hell, Dean would still be in hell today. So like the only reason why he's not in hell
exactly
is
why
because
Cass needs to be in the end.
It's because an angel pulled him out of hell because his job wasn't done yet. And along with every other time they died, they were saved because their job wasn't done yet. Their job was to stop the apocalypse. And guess what? They succeeded at stopping and reversing the apocalypse. Like that is the hero. That is the big splendor. Instead of a huge heroic death that saves the planet, that's so Avengers. It's been done 1,000,000 times. We don't need to have a hero's death that saves people.
Oh yes.
Instead, he can have a human death because now he's human and Sam is human. They're normal guys. They can die. Everything's going to be okay. They can live a long life and everything's going to be okay. Like, they're doing the reverse of an Avengers Endgame scenario where, because the two storylines are very similar. We don't need that. Like, Sam and Dean can just be normal guys now. They don't have the pressure of saving the world. Dean knew he can get stabbed by a big piece of rebar, die, and everything was going to be okay. He sat there like, I can die right now because the Earth is saved.
Dean only wanted that because Andrew Dad wanted that, and Eric Kripke said it was okay. Corinne does not say it's okay. You know, I can see what you're saying, but I still don't like it.
Tell me your version.
Okay, but hold on. So, the other part is, I can't get past Sam's wig and like him trying to be old because it really wasn't right. After all these years, and I do think Jared Padalecki is a good actor, what went awry there? Because that was weird.
Nothing went awry.
That was weird.
It was great because they showed, no, it's so important. Like
it wasn't right.
That whole scene was so important because it showed that he's obviously aged probably, 20, 30 years. He still has the Impala in mint condition. He goes and sits down. He didn't just go live his life with his kids and forget his brother. They put that scene in there because he sits down in the Impala, he grabs the steering wheel, and he has a tear roll down his cheek because he's thinking about his brother. No matter, after all these years, he still misses his brother fondly. Like, that was a powerful, that's when I started crying. That was a powerful moment.
Oh. I'm crying because I'm highly disappointed because it was such an epic moment for Dean Winchester, who literally is a hero. Okay, so the way I look at it is like...
He died a hero!
A baby hero. Dean Winchester goes down in history. He doesn't get impaled onto a rebar.
Rebar. How would you have liked it to end?
Basically how the episode was the other night. If Dean Winchester could have been the one to sacrifice himself so all could be well with the Earth. I'm
like
serious.
Every other, it's too predictable.
Maybe. Okay, well, that's your opinion. But here's how the reason why I was crying is because I do feel that is a very sad thing to happen to someone who, Dean Winchester, who is in my book so beloved. It's so annoying. I just think...
You're thinking like a super fan.
I am a super fan.
It's like in Dragon Ball Z, if they kill Goku, I'm like, screw you guys, it's Goku. But even if it was a good storyline,
that's not a good storyline. Okay,
they have killed Goku like 6 times.
He gets to live. He gets to freaking live. I don't care if he is a baby. Let him cry all day long, but he gets to live. Okay, so if he gets a heartbreak or he stubs his toe, so what? So in the end, God is still alive, right? Even though he has absolutely no powers. He has an opportunity to make choices, get married, have kids, do all of these things. But Dean freaking Winchester gets impaled onto a rebar.
But what you are not understanding, because you're thinking like a human, is that moment freed him. Dean was a tortured soul. He was a tortured soul all 15 years of Supernatural. You saw it start to leak out in stressful moments of how tortured he was. And at that moment, when he got impaled on the rebar, he was set free. He got to go to heaven, where he's like, I got my Impala, I got my family, I got my friends. He gets in baby and starts cruising through the mountains with a big old smile on his face, blasting Carry On My Wayward Son. Like, he is like in the best place. He's never been that happy before, and he's like, I have everything except for one thing. And Bobby says,
his brother.
And then Bobby says, don't worry, time is different here. And before he even gets around the mountain, Sam is there. Even though Sam just lived a full life on Earth, it was like 5 minutes to Dean.
It's like someone shat in my Cheerios and said, you know what? Let me put some sugar in it, okay? You'll still like it. You'll still like it.
Okay, if the show would have ended, which I knew that was going to be your answer, if the show would have ended like it did on the second to last episode, there's a number of things wrong with that. Number one, Sam still would have lived by himself on Earth, miserable, except for his brother died like in some heroic, horrible fashion or whatever. It would have been the same outcome in that sense. But you would not have known what else happens. Like, you wouldn't know. Like, is he trapped in that crappy heaven that we saw like earlier in the series? There were so many loose ends that need to be tied up. Is Castiel dead? Is he still alive? How is heaven? Like, how is Dean in heaven? What's his heaven like? you know, they not only did they show us the heaven, they showed us how happy Dean was. He's like, I have everything I could ever want except for one thing. And then boom, his brother was there. Now, they are perfectly happy. They're in heaven. Everything is absolutely perfect. They are set free of the weight that they had to carry for 15 years on Supernatural. They can still be themselves. They can still drink. They can still hang with their friends. They can still do all the things that they did, except for now they don't have that burden on their shoulders. They can live their own life, and they are free. And God is stuck on Earth, where we saw pain, heartache. He's got it way worse. Well, he's actually probably dead, because Sam lived an entire life, so God was probably dead too.
So.
And he probably went to hell, which is weird.
What was God's mission? To separate the brothers. They ended up getting separated.
Wrong. Were they separated? No, they're in the Impala. They were hugging on the bridge.
I wanted them to live, and I wanted them to be happy.
They're living in heaven.
Didn't you guys want them to be happy?
They are happy. They're in heaven. They're super happy.
Not dead.
Okay, but in our sense
I
of death,
don't want Sam to live his life without Dean. Now, another scenario could have been the two of them could have, like, sacrificed their life for the greater good of humanity. Or Castiel, who did sacrifice himself for Dean, ultimately for Dean to die. Maybe Cass could have sacrificed himself like he did for the greater good of humanity. And maybe Sam and Dean didn't have to fight demons anymore. Maybe because Dean did want to have a happy life. There's been many times if Dean wanted to throw in the towel and go to freaking Disney World. There have been times Dean has wanted to do that. I've seen the two brothers talk about it. Why couldn't Dean have come to that scenario? They're sitting in the pasture next to baby, having a beer, saying, you know what? We got to give it to Cass. He sacrificed everything. Let's live our life now, Sam. Listen.
You're missing.
This is not a good scenario.
This is a beautiful scenario, and the writers are probably going to be frustrated because the super fans aren't seeing the depth of this. Like, Castiel sacrificed himself.
Depth? When has Supernatural ever been deep other than in a full season? They have a Scooby Natural episode, okay?
They go meta sometimes, but listen to me. So
yeah, meta, exactly. They go meta a lot.
So Castiel sacrificed himself to keep Dean alive long enough to stop God, which he was successful at. Castiel's death did not go in vain. Dean and Sam and Jack together stopped the apocalypse, reverse everything, new heaven, new earth, everyone's back to normal, and now they can go to heaven and be perfectly happy and live wonderful, amazing lives instead of being stuck here in hell where they would have been hunters the rest of their life and they would have been still miserable.
They have choices. They didn't have to do that.
No, hold on. I
know, Dean.
I could poke a hole in that one so easily.
Dean couldn't leave well enough alone.
They have choices. If the second they hear of someone being killed, tortured, or whatever, they're never gonna be happy. They're never gonna be able to go and live a life and go to Disney World.
One of the things that I was thinking about, and I'm really sorry to interrupt you because I was just like, vomits coming out of my mouth, but that chick that was a vamp, they set her free because, right? Because back in the day, Sam always wanted him, if he felt that there was good in them, even if they were bad, like Garth, he would set them free. They set her free ultimately to be Dean's death. That's also a problem for me.
That was Dean's rescue. You're not looking at it right. It got him out of his tortured life.
All the goodness that he did led to this.
The weight of the world was on his shoulder. He was a broken man. Through the last 5 seasons, Dean was a broken man, and he just wanted to be free. And when that rebar hit him, he was happy. He wanted to die. He wanted to be free of all of the expectations he had on his shoulders of keeping people alive. He's like, Sam, you're stronger than me. You're a better hunter than me. I love you. I'm proud of you. You're amazing. Let me die, please. He wanted to die.
What the hell, Sam? What the hell, Sam? It took you forever to pick up that. But you know what, though? I have to give Sam a little bit of a break because I was in shock, too. I mean, as many times as these two have died, come back to life, died, come back to life, Sam was probably like, he'll be okay. But how could he not know? There's no more God. There's no more Castiel. Jack's just going to sit on his ass and have a margarita. What the hell, Jack? Everything that Sam and Dean have done for you, you can't just step in.
No, Jack has already talked about this in the last episode.
I don't care, Jack.
Angels, demons, God getting involved in life is what ruined it. And he said, this is Jack's exact words, God put himself in the story, which was his mistake. We need to be hands off. We need to let you guys live your life. So,
well, that is what God would do. But damn it, Jack.
Dean, fighting vampires, his choice, got stabbed by rebar, It happens when you're fighting vampires and you don't have angels and God protecting you. He's a normal person now. Like, there's such a depth here. I get it. I hope the writers see our YouTube video and they hear me, because at least they know someone out there understands them. Like, they wanted to show Dean is just a normal guy now. He can die and it's okay.
It's not okay.
It is okay. You're thinking like a super fan.
No.
Like, Daryl can die in The Walking Dead.
No. Oh my God. Let's talk about The Walking Dead just for two to 3 minutes. Season 10, that season finale. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I had all these emotions. I was so excited. I mean, he was playing video games and I just had all these array of emotions. I was expecting this, but then I saw that. I wasn't expecting that. And oh my gosh, can you believe that? That's what should be happening with Supernatural. Instead, my heart is broken. Listen, you guys, and I do see what you're saying, but that's not what I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This show is not that deep. It's not. They didn't make it that deep, and that was what their mistake was. This is not, I would like to have this show have been deep. I have said that all along. Supernatural is an amazing, amazing story. That's why we all love it so much, and that's why we all have really, really strong feelings about it. Good and bad. And that's a problem, because when you steer away from the deep, wonderful, hardcore things that make Supernatural awesome, it makes it confusing and there's a gray area. And I don't want to see a beautiful hero die like that. For 15 years, he has made me laugh. He has made me cry. He has stolen my heart. And you know what? His relationship with his brother is just amazing to me. And I know people were saying like they're codependent on each other, whatever. The reason why we love Sam and Dean is because of their relationship and what they have together as brothers. And I would love to be codependent with my siblings. It's a beautiful thing. And for me, it's heart-wrenching. I feel like I had a rebar stuck inside my body because I lost this beautiful character in the way that I did. And then his brother, who relied on his older brother so much, was now never fully happy. Even though he had children, even though he was married, he was sitting in that Impala crying, and even when he died, a tear was coming from his eye. He was heartbroken for the rest of his life. God might as well have gone like this and been a little baby back bitch.
What about the scene where he's out in the front yard and he's playing ball with his son and he's happy and his son is happy? Like, yes, he had a moment. Like, if you lose a loved one.
A moment?
You have a moment every once in a while. Like, you know, when he went in and saw the Impala, he went in there to have his moment. But when he leaves the Impala and goes back into his house, he has joy, because the one thing Sam always wanted was to have a normal life with a wife and a kid. That's what he always wanted. Dean never wanted that. That was never, he wanted to go to a pie eating contest, and then he wanted to have a dog, and then he wanted to die a hero. They both got what they wanted.
He did not die a hero.
He saved 2 kids from vampires.
Really though?
That's a hero.
Die?
That's a hero.
Okay, but that's a minor heroic act. I mean, I could freaking do that tomorrow. But you know what?
You're gonna go fight 5 vampires.
and would I be able to do it successfully? No. He's Dean freaking Winchester, yo.
He's Dean freaking Winchester without angels, without God, without magical weapons, without witches, without the King of Hell.
But he has had these skills for 15 years.
Did you ever ask yourself, during the 15 years of Supernatural, how come all these other hunters keep getting killed and Sam and Dean escape every single encounter and never die?
Because they're God's favorite, and yes, God was toying with them, and that was the mistake of this entire series.
They were normal hunters.
Yes, and that was the mistake of this entire series, is that God came into the picture and was a baby back bitch.
Well, listen. I hope you can see that the whole story played out biblically. Like, that's what's kind of cool about all this. The rapture happened, the apocalypse happened, the new earth was born. Like, everything followed suit. I was like, where are they going with this? And now, I mean, God might have had it planned this way the whole time. You know, the essence that left Chuck and went to Jack is still the same godly essence. It had to happen that way. That Chuck had to be a baby back bitch to propel the apocalypse, to fix it and put everything right again. It all makes sense in a nice little bow. And now
there's no bow.
And now we know Dean and Sam are up there riding in their Impala with their mom, dad, Cassio, Bobby, the happiest they could ever be. It's what they deserve for the amount of sacrifice they did here on Earth. They don't want to be here. This place sucks. I mean, they would be going through 2020 coronavirus, but no. They're in heaven, riding their Impala, no masks on.
Weren't those those vamp mimes? Weren't they really freaking scary?
Dude, that was hilarious. When they're like, they're mimes. He's like, they're vampires. Vampire mimes. Son of a bitch. That was funny.
All I'm going to say, you guys, we could go on and on and on. I see your perspective, but I'm going to stand strong with that. I don't think that this show is that deep, and there have been holes in the writing ever since season 5 ended, and I'm blown away that Eric Kripke was okay with this. I feel like there should have been something different. I really, really do. And he even said in an article that if fans were to say, Eric, you should have had something more to do with the ending, or it should have been Eric's ending, he said we wouldn't have liked it because it's a horror show and it would have been bad. This was a horror show for me at the end. The most scariest vamp mimes, they were terrifying. And for my love, Dean, like for him to die like that, it's just wrong. It's so wrong.
So wrong. This is why we need you guys. Like, this is why we need you guys.
It's wrong.
Everyone who watches this video, especially if you made it this far, please jump in the comments. Let us know. Did I sway you? Was I able to draw a picture for you so that you can see that this all makes sense and it's a beautiful ending? Or are you on Team Corinne? Which I don't even know where she is. It makes no sense to me.
What? It makes tons of sense. This is not an epic death. This is not a boss death. You have Dean, who
it's a peaceful death.
They even showed. They're trying to follow the song. You know, carry on, and it's not okay.
Hey.
No, he says, "I'm Batman," and you kill him like that.
He died in an epic fashion. He got stabbed by a rebar in a nest full of vampires. Like, that's how Dean's gonna die. Listen to me.
I'm not talking to you right now.
When you edit this video later, you better not cut out all my good points.
I'm gonna cut all of it out.
So yeah, guys, in the comments, how do you feel? Lastly, let's end this with a rating. I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. I'm happy with the ending. It all makes sense to me. I think there's a couple little things that probably would have made it a little bit more epic. I would have liked to see Castiel in the end, and you know, I would have liked some of the fight scenes to be a little bit more epic at the end. But I still get it. I like the peacefulness. I like the human side of things. I get what the writers were doing. Big fan. I give it an 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna give flat. Oops. Listen, I'm delusional right now. I'm gonna give it a flat line.
Hold on, you gotta
That's all it gets. There you go. Now, but I am gonna end with this. Some of Dean's best lines, as I have a tear running down my face as well as some snot. Okay, that's sexy. Hold on. Oh my god, he's so funny. I think you pissed off my sandwich. I'm Batman. Be like Elsa. Let it go.
Oh, I say that all the time.
Pudding! What else do we have for my Deanie boy? He always says the best things. That was scary.
Oh, that's
the
cat. The cat in the locker.
Yeah. Demons I get. People are crazy. Those aren't even the best ones. Here's the best one in my opinion. Driver picks the music. Shotgun shuts his...
K-Cole. But what's funny about that is she's always the passenger, yet she thinks she can control the radio. So she doesn't even follow the own Dean advice.
And neither would Dean. Okay. And then our ultimate favorite on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Son of a bitch! Thanks everybody for watching. I cover Supernatural.
You're gonna be okay.
On Twitch. Thank you. I'll try to get through this day. But I cover Supernatural on Twitch on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. I'm doing Eastern time, yep. And I do a rewind. We're on season 4 right now. So we're in the thick of the wonderfulness that was Supernatural from 1 through 5. Those seasons, the best, most beloved seasons of all before everything was Chuck. So, yeah, I hope you guys will join me if you want to still keep the show alive and go through the ride with me. I'm just afraid I don't know if I can actually go through this all over again, and I'm not sure if I can put other people through it too, knowing what they're going to experience. But I'd love for you to come join me.
That's on Twitch, which is Life After Neverland on Twitch. Mondays, Fridays, 10 o'clock Eastern, live rewatch parties. And follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
You'll see her tweeting away about all this stuff.
Yeah, Supernatural fans, I would love to connect with you moving forward. If you guys would like to connect with me, I would love it. And thanks so much for watching, you guys. Let's give a big kiss to Sam and Dean in heaven. I know they're really, but I love Sam and Dean. All right, guys, so we're going to part now. Thanks so much for watching.
Bye, guys.
Oh, wait, don't forget. What's the new show that Jared's going to be on?
Walker, Texas Ranger.
And Jensen is going to be on The Boys. So we'll still get to see them, just not in the way we want to.
We need to do a Jack goodbye. So everyone, until next time,